Hello and welcome to the latest installment of the Carrion Crown from D6 Damage. We are going to be slightly delayed at the beginning of this session, but we did want to get things started. We are going to be slightly a little bit earlier than usual at the beginning of this session. But we did want to get things started.
Yes, we are here a bit earlier. I got the time mixed up and thought I was supposed to be here later. So glad we figured that out when we did.
Sorry, I stopped talking because I had a weird echo. But yeah, we're here to get things going. Fun and adventures will be had in one way or another. Hopefully, we'll be able to kick things off with the actual game fairly soon. But in the meantime, we're going to open it up for questions for any of the viewers. If you want to post anything in chat, we'll be happy to answer them. And I think in the meantime, we will just talk about all that Pathfinder stuff that we love so much.
So I have a question for you guys. Have you looked into any of the other adventure paths, and have they caught your attention? And why?
Well, I guess for me on that instance, I guess for me the adventure paths that, without reading too much into it, one that particularly interests me is the one they have there called Strange Aeons, where essentially a bit of Call of Cthulhu, the role playing game meets Pathfinder, and not just the fact that it's merging the two games in the Cthulhu mythos, but apparently from what I heard, from what I've seen, apparently the people at Pathfinder, when they first started making this scenario, they actually did contact the people of Call that make that actually create the Call of Cthulhu game. In the same way, Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, they did get and sign their help in creating the scenario, so that was cool.
You know, I'm not really that big a fan of the Call of Cthulhu game. I think it degenerates into a character meat grinder too much.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're old man Henderson.
Yeah, unless you're one ridiculously lucky old man with dynamite. Then,
well,
there's a character, that and Joshua Norton. He is a homeless man that is also a powerful wizard and a master of electricity.
So essentially, Nikola Tesla's superpowers. Got it.
Nikola Tesla wishes he could touch me.
Well, that's one thing there too, and well, for what's worth too, there's always Pope Cthulhu rules where it's like you essentially you give a fighting chance as far as the investigators, but at the same token, if you hit hard, the mythos hits just as hard as well. And I don't mean just sanity, but that's a good thing to find.
The mythos in general, when running it, you either go hardcore on them, or you're not doing it right.
Yeah,
what do you mean by hardcore?
This is Cthulhu. You ain't touching that. Like, this is, you looked upon it, now you're dead. I do know there are things you can do where it's lesser things, but some folks, they want to come for the big guy. They want to see Cthulhu breach from the bay, just lumbering his way towards the city to destroy it like he's Godzilla or something.
You know, as much as I understand the desire for that, a big part of the Cthulhu mythos is Cthulhu never actually showing up. Like as much
as we talk, Fire Festival?
Yeah, well, as much as we talk about how all powerful the old ones and the outer gods are, there's a lot of sitting on your betentacled butts. If you want someone who actually does something, like Hastur, aka the King in Yellow, and Nyarlathotep are the only guys who actually get off their butts and do things. And then it's rarely ever direct. It's more, we're just fucking with the mortals for the lulz.
Pretty much. I think that's one scenario Max and Nyarlathotep is actually built upon. Essentially, Nyarlathotep sitting on this whatever throne, he's eating popcorn, just watching and seeing how close they get before he has to get up and actually deal with them.
A little part of me wishes we could find a way to shorten Nyarlathotep into something a bit more pronounceable.
We do. It's called Gnarly Hotep.
Yep. Well, I was gonna say the smallest thing I can shorten it to is Nya. and that carries its own issues.
No, just gnarly hotep. Gnarly.
I can imagine Nyarlathotep going into human form, just calling, "Oh, my name is just Niles."
See, you say that, but I'm picturing the guy from Frasier, and I can totally see him assuming that form.
Exactly. Just
So don't be upset if I throw Nyarlathotep at you. It's Niles.
Well, he appears as Niles, and suddenly he shows his true form, and either we all go mad or we run like hell.
Now I'm really
like, oh.
picturing, like, I don't know, not Azathoth, but like Yog Sothoth as Frasier. Like, hello, Niles. Hello, Yog.
I love the idea of Haster and Nyarlathotep just coming to the other old one, saying like, okay, so I know we're gonna like eat everything, but we found some media. Like, you know, Haster, he likes to mess with the creative types. You do, Cthulhu. You like to mess with them too. Watch this, and they just all fall in love with Frasier. Okay, so we spare these people. Everyone else dead. Yeah.
I'm just picturing them reenacting it, like Azathoth is whatever the dad's name is, and he's just on his recliner.
Pretty much.
Who's the dog?
That would be that probably Shub-Niggurath is Eddie.
Look, I now have this like cyclical loop in my head of they find Frasier, they show to Azathoth, and then Frasier becomes a thing because he's dreaming about it.
Yep, sounds about right. The multiverse is just a fan fiction.
Actually, I don't know. I have to check the family tree of the old ones, but I think Cthulhu actually is Haster's brother, or half brother.
Yeah.
You know, the relationship works. Cthulhu is doing his Cthulhu call-in show.
What's really funny is that Frasier is supposed to have a child that he sees like maybe twice, and there we have Cthulhu's daughter. It's kind of a thing, but no one acknowledges it.
Well, there you go.
Fantastic. We're 5 minutes in. Frasier is the elder gods.
Well, see that it's always sunny behind the stars, so.
Oh my god! I don't want to know which one's D because I have to picture that elder god as a bird.
Well, as far as how much one they take, well, sometimes it's to hide, sometimes it's because why not? So, well, there you go. If one is why not? Kings have been emperors, I've been people who've affected the course of history, and now I'm a bird. I've been everything else. Let me have my perch.
Anyway, not to derail our very fascinating discussion about sitcoms and which great old ones would fit well into those roles, but to go back to our Pathfinder campaign discussion, I like Rise of the Rune Lords. I think it's got some problems as a campaign. The group has played that in the past, but I do like Rise of the Rune Lords. I think for people interested in getting into the world of Golarion, that's a good place to start because it gives you a lot of the important details. It highlights some of the things that are unique about Golarion, like the sin magic system, the Rune Lords themselves, the history of the continent. Because Golarion does feel unique from other D&D settings like Eberron or Faerun in that it has a more aged and a little bit more of an antique feel. And I think Rise of the Rune Lords is good for showing that off. And for those, and if you're interested in going into another area that sort of separates Pathfinder from D&D, the Jade Regent is also good because the guys at Paizo, they really like trying to embody a lot of those creatures from Asiatic and Far Eastern folklore into creatures in the campaign world. So I think both of those are good points of demarcation from what you might have seen, especially if you're coming from 3.5 or 5e or 4e somehow, if you're like one of those guys who got lost there and never found your way out.
I would like to see a game that's basically a walking tour of Golarion, just to give people a feel for it. Even if it's just like a short little thing. But I will say, this actually brings up the topic of how Wizards of the Coast went, hey, we're going to try and make our constantly evil races aren't always evil. And I was just over here adding like character to goblins and drow going, well, you guys are making them all evil. That's rude.
Huh? Well, that's another point of character creation. Sometimes about taking ideas that seem so aesthetic, orcs are this, goblins are this, drow are this, and maybe trying to, not so much spin it, but give another take on it, almost like their perspective. I mean, look at yeah, there's definitely a lot of other things as far as those cultures, but there's also some parts that, certain sentiments aside, you can usually see humans, elves, dwarves, in that same scenario, things turn out differently in their history, so.
The way I put it is, these races are this to you. Like, goblins are monsters that rip and tear and everything. It's like, yeah, from the outside perspective.
I think that one of the things you have to do when you're coming up with a world is you have to delineate. One of them is tone, but another one is what races are really meant to be playable. One of the things that Dungeons & Dragons did, and this is one of the reasons why they have to be more thoughtful about how they portray their evil races, is they said, we want as many playable things as possible. We want a lot of very interesting exotic races. They really did the Star Wars thing, where they said, okay, the point of like Faerun is the fact that it's big and it's all about wondering and seeing new things as you go forward. And that is where it's perfectly appropriate to try and embody things like what do the orcs and the goblins think? What do they do? What is their society actually like? Whereas that standpoint really doesn't make sense if you say if you're literally using the Lord of the Rings setting, where creatures like goblins and orcs, what they are is very specific, and you can't really play them because it's not as a setting meant for you to play these creatures.
It's a little difficult to play a guy that was a dead elf that was forced into an orc. I forget how it goes. I just know that they're not just a naturally occurring race. They're like born from mud.
Well, accounts deliberately differ based on the origin of the orcs in Lord of the Rings. He's never clear on exactly what they are. So there's obviously Saruman's speech to Lurtz in the movies that I don't think is actually in the book, but they were elves once, which is kind of what the Silmarillion says. It's not clear on how the arts of Melkor work in terms of creating the orcs. Like, you can argue that they are tortured elves that have been somehow warped by his corruption. You could also argue that he used a big blender, if you will, and made elf juice that he then poured into orc molds. That's another possible interpretation of it.
That's a great mental image. I want to see, in the Lord of the Rings, just a giant Cuisinart in the background.
I don't. What kind of horror that Saruman doesn't when he was experimenting creating the orcs for his army? Yeah, no thanks.
Well, so first off, you would see it off in the distance, and then you would hear Gandalf say, "That is Cuisinart, the place where the first orcs were forged from the elves taken by Melkor in the Dark Days."
Merry and Pippin watching things get shredded and reformed, just going, you know what? I still haven't lost my appetite. Me neither.
Pippin? Yes, Mary? Why does it smell like salsa around here?
Man, I'd totally go Taco Tuesday in the Hobbit's villages.
As a literary scholar, I could go into the problems of making Tolkien racial for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is the stream to do so, but suffice it to say that it has set a tone that is difficult for most games to deal with, because there is a level of racial specificity that needs to be dealt with. But I do not believe that was ever the intention.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Well, I think that comes from the fact that Lord of the Rings was very Eurocentric.
It is. And I think you're absolutely right. I think there is a certain feel with that.
He deals with cultures that are analogous, like the Haradrim. He does deliberately say, like, if you remember that one scene where Sam is watching the battle between the Rangers and the Haradrim with the elephant, when the one guy falls and Sam looks at him and he thinks about...
That's my favorite scene.
Yeah, that is a really great scene.
This is the first time Sam has ever seen a man kill another man. Or, like, he's bringing a lot of attention to that.
And I think there's also the issue that, like, this was written from the perspective of someone that had to deal with World War II, and he brought a lot of that into his writing. So I think
World War One.
And, well, both.
Bobby. Oh, yeah.
He wrote it in 48. I think the first copy comes out in 48 or 52, something like that.
There's a great joke in Archer where
when does it come out?
It was set in one of the like future one of the later seasons, but it's in like a kind of jungle punk, like everyone's a navigator and all of that. They're dealing with natives. And there's one guy that's just been living on this island for like the last 5 years, and then people start making quotes to The Hobbit and whatnot. He goes like, "What are you guys talking about?" It's like, "Oh, right, you haven't heard." So there's this guy called Tolkien, and he put out a book called Hobbit, and everyone loves it. It's great, and everyone just keeps referencing it around. It's like, I have no idea what this is. Don't expect me to laugh at it.
54, by the way. First published 54.
Interesting.
So yes, it deals with both world wars.
That's good to know.
But yeah, he was basically doing things like, oh, here are the elves, these people that were perfectly fine, and now they've come to the side of darkness due to outside influences. Like, I wonder what that could be.
Yeah, very much also analogous and so we talk about the spread between the book and the movie, but I saw that too in the one scene where it's like, someone gives this big spiel about, oh, you were this and you were that, and just like, did these guys not realize they saw members of their own band created, and it's just like, well, I say band as far as like how they would set themselves up, not as a derisive term to anyone else, but yeah, just like you almost all this thing is basically just feeding you this nonsense. Like, well, I guess they don't question it because they don't really know much better, but yeah, I caught that too, where it's just like these feed them a story, they're angry and they're going to fight, and he gets to sit back and essentially eat popcorn while chaos reigns.
So yeah, I think whenever it comes to world building, you can totally go fine with it and just say like, these are the evil races, these aren't the evil races, and that works fine. That's just a simple thing to make it so you can have your power fantasy, and I'm not judging that. But I find it difficult whenever I'm building a world to just, blanket and say, these are a bunch of evil entities that are living in close proximity to each other for all their life. How have they not killed each other?
Well, so that's sort of explained, especially in Lord of the Rings and other things, like we were talking about the Deep Ones before this actually began, is the idea that these races, if you want to use that word, which I think we can even argue on whether race is appropriate for them, they are essentially thralls to another force that is outside of themselves. There's an order imposed on them, and when they're sort of left to their own devices, they do tend to degenerate into sort of bickering and fighting. But when another power like takes control of them, then they essentially fall into line to it very easily because their kind has been so conquered by it. So
that certainly is a trope that you see a lot with things like the green skins. For example, you see it in 40k with how if the war boss is killed, the WOG degenerates into infighting, or even in Lord of the Rings, especially when you have the tower where you have the goblins fighting over the mithril shirt that they steal off Frodo, and how there's this belief that the threat is only, they're only really dangerous when they're unified, and if you just keep them from being unified, they just fight amongst themselves and are never really a big deal.
Oh yeah, I can get behind that. I'm just saying there's a bit of a difference between like this creature that is, or like this group of entities that are being controlled by something, and like the drow. Like, unless they're all being possessed by Lol, that's certainly a cool image, but it's crazy to think that like they can't be reasoned with under any means whatsoever.
Well, I think that falls into the very real trap of making evil characters unreasonable. And I think you see that a lot when it comes to player characters, where players have a difficulty understanding that an evil character can exist in a good or neutral party. Mm-hmm. That the purpose of an evil character is not just to be unreasonable and against the enemies or against the good characters no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's just there has to be a certain depth to evil characters that goes beyond simply against the good guys no matter what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the ways that I like to see evil portrayed, and I think it's good because it's playable, is the fact that evil characters have virtues. There are good things about them, and there are redeeming values, but they are warped. Like, say, a chaotic evil character who's come from a very savage environment, and they are basically, the archetypal like barbarian who kills and maims. They're a survivor. That's a virtue that they have, is that they can survive anywhere and anything. Mm-hmm. And that virtue, that thing that's good about them, has been taken to a very dark place.
Yeah. I guess that's one of the reasons I particularly like 40K in this instance, because you can easily look at something like the Tao, it's like, oh, they have this thing, the good guys, but then you look at sort of like the society, the actual one that runs their society is like, no, that's kind of evil. And as far as like what people say about 40K, as far as my grievances said, I kind of say that's kind of the point. No matter what faction you have, well, there can be good aspects to it if they do something different. Example, the Empire of Mankind or something like that, or Humankind if you would prefer the term. But regardless, it's like normally in other cases there could be instances where the High World could be something better, they reorganize or something like that. But the same token, well, it's not only to protect your own, it's how far you take it there too, and that's the thing there too. A lot of these times, if these things are a little different, say for not anyone else. I mean, like I said, even the warg and with the orcs. Usually it'd be fighting, but that sort of a world is driving. It's sort of trying to do something else and put to something else. Some other enterprise they could do great things with that. Heck, they can make technology even happen just by willing it to exist. I'm guessing a lot of things in science today would probably give a lot just to have that happen. All this stuff is possible. We will it to existence. Boom, it happens. So again, you guys are right in that instance too, and personally, that's why I believe in even if it seems like just the dark faction, because they're fleshing them out a bit. I'll probably find the resources when I can and bring it up, but there's a lot of writings, a lot of other great philosophers that said people don't come into the world evil for its own sake. Oftentimes they're under the impression that they're doing really good in the world, or it's not what they're doing is not what quote unquote the good faction do is not good enough, and a lot of things are left to the wayside and then too. And sometimes the villain's not born because they're trying to destroy the world. It's because there's problems and someone's got to take care of it. So there's that too as far as that. Again, if I find the more writings to substantiate my claims, I will, but I'll probably point of Discord in many other places. But I think that's also a good aspect of that. I mean, you can say something like the Drow and sort of the dynamics between Drows and Elves as far as how they do so, not just in 40K, but many other things. A lot of times it's because they've been in the situations they are, they turn into what they are today, and their society is what it is because of these influences and such. And you may be looking at like, oh, that seems like a lot of work, it's evil for its own thing. It's like, if you play a whole Goblin campaign and you're into adventurers, they be the same things there, even though they cry about justice, or something like that too. So it's good to have multiple perspectives and write that in there too, because I won't say really necessarily excuses the evil things they do, but it's like it gives a reason, and the main value in that is that, not just state the obvious, but you also see the instance where they fall short, where they turn into what they are today, and maybe reflect on that too, as long as that. So, first, long tirade short, I do agree with you guys, and I think there's a lot of things you can do with that.
I've actually had a complaint amongst my players that in my humanizing or just making them feel like a living, breathing creature, people who are there for the power fantasy feel bad that what they're doing is wrong and that they should have talked it out. It's like, that's sweet, guys, but you don't have to talk everything out. If you disagree with things and you can always solve it via violence, then by all means, take them out. Sort things out that way.
We've had a couple of people join us, and I'd like to take this brief opportunity, not to cut anybody off, but to say that before we begin, because we're waiting on our last player for this fight, we are perfectly willing to answer questions. If you have anything you want our take on, go ahead and post it in chat, and we're always happy to voice our opinion. We have plenty of those. And to kind of build on what Doomboy was saying a little bit, one of the campaigns that I think perspective really matters would be something like the Reign of Winter, where you deal with a lot of the Fey creatures, and that's an area where sort of you're taking the players who have a human perspective and you're having them deal with creatures that don't share a human perspective. The view of these creatures on life in the world is very different. And I think that that can lead to some interesting situations where you can't really necessarily argue that these creatures are evil, but you can definitely make the argument that their views, their wants, their needs, what they are, is so different from us that conflict is essentially inevitable.
That's one of the things they've done in Wizards of the Coast that they've done with the lizard folk, which I'm a huge fan of, is that they've taken the idea that they have these reptilian minds that is so innately different than mammalian minds that they are neutral is the normal racial alignment, but like the eating of sentient creatures is not a big deal to them because they see things in three categories. You're either a food, a predator, or a family member, and that's it. And so, like, that making them, yes, lizard folk are dangerous and hard to deal with, but that doesn't make them necessarily evil. It just makes them so alien to our thinking that what they see as normal is not what we think.
Exactly. And I think this is why, not just that, but really all tabletop games, well, maybe not all tabletop games, depending on that, sorry, but,
okay, so with the old ones, because I can't hear him.
Yeah, he's definitely gone underwater.
Yeah. Oh. Say hi to Flex's patron for me, will you?
I wouldn't call it patron, more like a companion.
He's the grandparent that thinks you're not eating, so he brings you groceries.
Gods don't exist.
Well, I didn't say it was a god.
Yeah, entities do. That's the unfortunate part.
Yes, to you.
I'm really enjoying playing a cleric who is a hardcore atheist.
I'm enjoying it as well. I had a player in a campaign I was running who he was one of the two medics on the ship. He was a tiefling who was a atheist cleric because he thought that was a great idea. And the other cleric was a tiefling that was a devout follower of Sarenrae. And he started getting into a religious discussion with him, and he said his point. And then he went, okay, and then he'll say this to bounce off what he was saying. I was like, whoa. You guys get to be the main characters. I get to be everyone else. You do not talk for him.
Well, that's what happens when you get into an argument as far as that. You'll jump on whatever you can.
I've never had someone try and straw man like that before. Imagine if in a debate a person said his piece, then walked over to the other podium and just moved their lips along to what they wanted them to say.
Well, I think a lot of times you get this perfect argument sort of worked out in your head, and it's like, when he says this, I'll say this, and then I'll be right. And,
oh yeah, I've been in this before.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out that way. In fact,
more often than not, you end up in the situation where you're like, oh yeah, I said this, and he came up with this really good counter argument. My brain went, huh.
Yeah.
I'm quite keen on the person going out like, all right, I've said all this stuff, and the second you rebut, I'm going to double down with hard facts just to make you look stupid. Because, you bring up a fine point. Yeah, I agree. Don't do that.
What?
No, that's not how the simulation went out.
Yeah, I actually had that happen in a fight. I had a bad guy. He was mad at the party. and was going to go kill them, and then one of the party members brought up a decent point as to, but we didn't do anything like to you against we're not at fault here. We just happen to be here. The bad guy's like, but I'm angry and I'm supposed to kill you. And they talked their way out of it, and it was just great.
I played in a Fallout inspired game where my character was a substitute science teacher because I was really mainline Breaking Bad at the time. And he had just such a perspective of trying to solve things peacefully because he spent all his time dealing with high school students. So every time they were running into fights and whatnot, he'd just talk his way out of it.
You don't deal with high school students enough.
Right?
As someone whose job is dealing with high school students, you don't deal with high school students enough.
Well, he's a substitute, so clearly he doesn't.
Well, actually, fair point.
But he ran into a bunch of...
That's the guy who thinks they deal with them enough.
He was a super mutant. There are super mutants that spend a lot of their time invisible. I don't know what those things are called. Night Stalkers. He ran into like a whole pack of them at a train yard while he's looking just to steal a train car to make into an apartment. And they went like, you're here to steal the thing. It's like, what thing? The cloaking technology. I have no use for cloaking technology. We don't believe you. It's like, alright, well, how about this? I help you find the cloaking technology, you take the cloaking technology, and then you walk away with it. No, there has to be a trick here. It's like, alright, well, tell you what. My dog can help you find it. There you go. But what do you get out of this? It's like, I don't know, you guys are happy, I'm happy, we're all happy, that's what I get out of it. And like, it took them a hard minute to just conceptualize something wasn't trying to screw them over. They're like, alright, sure. And we're watching me like a hog. Was like, here you go, take them. And they just couldn't handle it. I talked my way out of so many situations. The other player I was with pulled the DM aside and said, hey, can you throw something at us that he can't talk his way out of? I want to fight stuff. We got to a government facility, and I almost talked my way out of it.
Sorry, apologies. Those are Nightkin. Night Stalkers are
the rattlesnake coyotes.
Yeah.
That's actually what we ran into at the very first. And when someone said, oh yeah, they're coyotes, I was like, oh, coyotes, those are cute. Mixed with scorpions.
I'm blanking on the name of the giant death bugs that block.
Cazadors.
Yeah.
Castors. God, cassowaries are probably the stuff of nightmares and Fallout. No one needs a stupid chicken. You were going to say?
I think the campaign setting that I probably would want to try would be the lands of the Leonin Kings.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Because that one
you mean the Linorn Kings?
Yeah, Linorn, rather.
Linorn are very different.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very different, actually.
Well, one's a location, one's a monster.
Well, no, Linorns are monsters too.
Oh shit!
I like the idea of the Leonin Kings, though. It's like, oh, I think I'm going to... If you got it confused, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go, check out the lion guys. That sounds fun. And then you meet giant death lizards. And no, I can death lizards. No, that's not what I wanted. This is not what I was going to do at all.
I'm really interested in Giant Slayer, and I also, what was it? I think it's Serpent Skull sounds neat because it's got that.
Serpent Skull sounds really cool.
It's got that kind of like adventure. What am I thinking? Pulp.
It's very Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
pulp adventure kind of thing. Both it and I do at some point want to do the Osiren one, the Mummy's Mask.
Not bad.
Or Mummy's Wrath, or whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called.
The one in Osiron. I know which one you're talking about.
Because I think both of them are very pulp adventure-y, and I want to do some very pulp adventure-y characters, because I think that would be very fun.
Rigel brought up the notion of playing Strange Aeons, and I want to say that I was talking to D6 about the silly idea that the next adventure path we do would be Strange Aeons, but I would want everyone to play as 10 to 15-year-old kids, so it can be Stranger Aeons.
I'm down for that.
Wants to be 11. Just be an ether kineticist. That'll be great.
Can one of the characters, whether it's a player or an NPC, be a guy whose nickname Smalls, so he can say, "You're killing me, Smalls"?
Naturally.
Again, it doesn't have to be a player. It could be an NPC or a friend of ours that's like, "What do you do that? You're killing me, Smalls!" He gets in trouble and gets butt ass in trouble again.
Who wants to speak the list the entire campaign?
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's too difficult.
Well, I think that's actually a good segue for talking about gimmicks when you're coming up with your character. I think
you guys come with character after gimmicks?
a gimmick can be fun for a while, but I think you always have to answer the question eventually of, okay, now I'm done with the gimmick. What do I do now?
Have we all seen that comic that's the guy that's like an orc clown? And then it's like, this is campaign 1, him being so goofy, throwing pies at people. And this is in that session 86, where he's the last one holding up the ceiling, making sure that everyone gets out alive.
Who goes there?
Hello, gentlemen.
Ah, you are here.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo.
We're saved now. Dun 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 dun. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we definitely need you for this, because we got trouble down here in Harrowstone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Out of the song. Oh, we got trouble. Right here, let's go.
Christ.
I had a small request / question of Raphael. Does Raphael have a sister named Dawn?
He could, if you want.
It's a good son joke. This is my daughter Dawn, and this is my son. Both of you, your father has the dumbest grin on his face.
And we're both just like, God damn it. Are we a joke to you?
Yes.
My world revolves around them.
Father, please, stop.
Here, just drink a Corona.
Could be worse. You get have a sister named Strawberry Fields, so
I want to go spend some time with Uncle Apollo.
no.
So we ready to play?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
We are just about ready.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
So, to those of you in chat, sorry about this interlude. We have our company at full strength.
Hey, it's fine. No one knew that we were starting early, so this was just a pre-show.
The show before the show.
Yeah.
A little
So,
song, a lot of dance, a lot of death.
So, Ferric, why don't you catch us up on what happened last time?
Spotlight.
Didn't he have to do it last time?
I thought I did.
Yeah, he did it last
Never
time.
mind, my bad, then D12.
D6 just picking on you.
Alright. So as a recap, I would have to say that a lot of things probably should have happened that didn't happen, and a lot of things that did happen I didn't want to have happen. For instance, there's this floating guy near the ceiling that shouldn't be there. He should be tied to the back of a slug in the dead position with the whole beheaded thing going on, but we missed that step. So I guess we have to go back even farther back, that we found the dead guy down in this hole with a bunch of other dead guys. Only the other dead guys weren't exactly dead. They were kind of like living dead.
He was a very suspicious dead guy, and we wanted to talk to one of our dead friends about him to see if she knows him.
Yeah. So that was definitely a thing that happened. And then if you look back even farther than that, there were a bunch of other dead things that were kind of burning and not so burning, and yeah, there was a lot of dead things. You know, other than dead things, I don't think much happened. Other than the kids, there were some kids that God, Grigori gave him a good fright, and then I think I re-put the bones back in their bodies as they were trying to jump out. Of course, that gave them just as much of a fright because I did it in the scariest way possible. You see. Other than that,
You can get
anybody else remember
deboned children at wherever fine evil goods are sold.
Can I hear Jack say Haba?
Maybe.
What, you going down to the harbor?
Yeah, Bog Harbor.
Yeah, you pack the car over at Habit Yard.
I swear, they don't understand each other. They're just guessing.
Eh?
And at some point, we got to do a Brooklyn campaign.
No, never.
Bada bing!
It can't happen.
I want that, but I want Jack.
Spaghetti!
Actually, no, the party's just from Brooklyn, and we're playing like some other thing.
Yeah, it's gotta be something completely not Brooklyn at all with a bunch of Brooklyners.
Yeah, so
Takes
we're gonna be
place-
doing like
Look and
circles,
see me and look.
wandering around the
Since
jungle.
most of us, since most of us are from California, from Southern California specifically, we should really do a surfer campaign where we're all surfers.
Say that. I knew you were gonna.
Okay,
I'm already trying to
that
figure
needs
out
to be
how
like
to
the
do
Mummy's
surfing.
Mask, because we're at the beach, but we're looking for the ocean.
Yeah, I don't see the waves anywhere.
There is.
I see them, but they're not made out of water.
Oh shit, dude! That's a sandstorm.
Hey, there's this one dude. It looks
gotta,
like a
like,
bird
surf
victim
the
with
waves
something
of
that's
life, bro.
directions.
Burn victims are pretty normal around here, my dude.
Man, can I not wait for Bill and Ted's Most Righteous Adventure? Who wants to be Rufus? I want to be Rufus.
Oh,
I
God.
call him idiot dibs.
One of us would have to be named Dylan.
Oh.
There's always somebody named Dylan.
So off to the left, going through the dunes. Mysteriously, you see a large assortment of wild stallions. Wild stallions!
Okay, we're getting off track here. Let's get back to the ghost or whatever.
Can we find a track?
I don't think we ever had
we
a
got
track
a
to
dead
begin with.
guy. Now, is he floating or is he actually like stuck to the ceiling like Unholy Spider-Man?
Last I heard, he was kind of doing the whole spectral thing, but he could have been doing Unholy Spider-Man and stuck to the ceiling.
Yeah, is this a Exorcist, or is this a Ghostbusters situation?
Bam, 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 bam.
But I made this just for you folks today.
I'm so happy that you actually have a zoomed-in version of that section, because I was going to be annoyed.
Yeah.
Oh, dope! This is the best thing ever!
Yeah.
Right? I was going to be so annoyed.
Hey, look, I'm here! I dragged my guy!
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. This took me 4 attempts because it kept deleting itself.
Alright, hold on a second here.
That's been happening a lot.
It's Alt to drag yourself so you're not on the grid.
Yep.
Don't mind the grid on it.
Don't mind the grid.
Oh wait, no, do mind the grid.
I don't
Yeah,
have
it's
to mind
important.
the grid. The grid's not my real father.
Whoa.
Jesus, you
That's
got some problems, dude.
As long as you
That's
live
some
under my
feelings.
house, you treat this grid with respect.
That's a fair point.
I think we're all getting a little carried away here. I think we should all talk about our feelings. Okay.
My dad got lost on the grid. And then I went in to find him and I found a girlfriend instead.
Oh, you found him and your girlfriend.
Legacy reference and also mention Daft Punk.
Right? It's like you found him and the grid. The problem is you had to ditch him for the girl.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. I had lived most of my life without him anyway.
Right?
Oh snap!
Go watch Tom
Congratulations
play.
on your dad being Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, admittedly, that was pretty cool.
Imagine having the dude as your dad.
Well,
I mean,
if
That's
not
a
what
roll.
he really is,
I don't think it would be that different
Would
from
he be-
having your dad stuck in the grid.
Would he be the duteous dad or the daddiest dude?
I think he'd be
It was really funny.
Not in your life anyway.
In real life, my dad's voicemail was, "This is Dave, and I'm off the grid." Click. That was his voicemail.
I'm mixing up Jeff Bridges with Kurt Russell somehow. I think it's because I love both of them equally.
And
No,
they
no one
love
loves
you
you,
both
so it doesn't matter.
equally, son.
I mean, Zero is still equally.
Alright, let's play.
Yalla. Because I
Enough about
only have
Jeff Bridges. He started the campaign. Yet.
No, we just have a fight to do today, and it's a glorious battle between us and something.
So let us
Back
do
to that
battle,
question.
dude.
Is it floating or stick or
It
stuck?
appears to be clinging to the ceiling.
All right, unholy Spider-Man it is.
Oh, that's not terrifying.
I hope it would be. That's the goal.
It's almost like we're in a scary setting or something.
Mm-hmm.
Scary settings.
Like, Zoink Scoob. Looks like he's...
Oh yeah, we gotta roll initiative, don't we?
That's really good. Good job on that. That's a good Shaggy. I've heard a lot of that.
Talking about the Shaggy. I thought you were
Jack,
talking
why
about the
do you
initiative.
not have a big dog that you refer to as Scoop?
Whoa!
Can I assume that Jack has a brother?
No, you may not.
Well, we can assume all we want.
Yeah, check your privilege, asshole.
Jack is definitely an only child.
Now.
Well, yes, now. He had many brothers and sisters, but they're all dead.
Oh, speaking of, I found a pretty cool piece of Redcap lore that I think totally makes sense with Jack. Apparently, Redcaps have an affinity for cats. No one sure.
Loves.
Because cats are rude, mean killing machines that feel nothing of remorse.
I watched this show that had
It
a
is
red cap
okay,
in it.
Mittens. He did not mean that.
I watched a show that had a red cap in it, but they couldn't say it's a red cap. They just said, like, oh, it's a gnome. It's a gnome with his red hat and a penchant for draining blood into his hat. Like, what? This is a red cap.
Oh yeah, I've seen clips of that. I have no idea what show you're talking about.
That would be the Hollow. All right.
Hollow.
Everybody roll.
Is that a cartoon on Netflix? The
Yes.
Hollow?
Let's
Oh, that's
see,
only 4 of us.
Deacon, Cyphus,
We're missing.
Guy, Raphael.
Raphael, Jack.
We need,
So we need
Gregory.
Gregory. We need
We need
Gregory.
Gregory and Rhino.
and Rigel to click on their guy and then roll initiative. You guys
Yep.
both rolled initiative instead of clicking on your guy first. Oh no, you didn't. You
They
did
both
right.
got 9.
You both have 9.
They both got 9.
All right.
Let's get him. No, after you. No, after you. I insist. That's how
this is all good.
initiative works.
Yeah, I think it's much more me and Gregory looking at each other, looking at this, and I have the awkward moment like, do you want to act or should I? And it's like, I don't know, do you? I don't know. Looking at this entity just bursting out.
After you, racist.
So,
Wrong.
hanging a good 40 feet off the ground, clinging to the ceiling, his teeth glistening with light of Deacon's crystal, Lopper stands, or hangs, menacingly, laughing. You're up, Deacon.
I will draw my +1 mace, and I will invoke the powers that I am drawing through the holy symbol of Iomade to bane undead this weapon that I wield.
All right then.
And that will be
Is that
my
your
action.
turn?
Yeah, that's the end of
All
my
right.
Alright, my eyes roll back into my head. My book that I have chained to my chest arises and floats out in front of me and opens. And I begin muttering in a language that no one here can comprehend, yet somehow you can still kind of understand that I'm telling the story of this event as it's happening, as though I'm a few seconds ahead of everyone else. And I will begin the bardic performance. And I will choose Gregory to be my focus of fortune.
And so now I'm going to roll a percentage to see if I can double his bonus. So I have to roll a percentile dice.
I'll say I really like the
With a
flavor.
71. With 71, I get wheel as my bonus. So everyone gets a +1 to hit and damage, and saving throws, I think. And Grigori instead gets a +2 to
Excellent.
hit and damage.
As you watch him rise up, Grigori, muttering something in a language you don't want to understand. Can't help but think, well, this is new.
Let me just... It's been a while since I played Bard, so I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Well, you get to practice any of the other party members, so we're gonna have to...
Yeah, well, they all get it. He's just the one who gets +2.
Oh, okay.
Everyone gets a +1 on saving throws against Charm and Fear, as well as a +1 confidence bonus on attack and weapon damage rolls.
What class is Rigel?
Magus.
Did you mean to ask what
Come on,
class
you have.
is?
No, I was talking about Rigel.
Oh, okay.
So that's my turn.
Because Rigel's next, that's why I was trying to figure out what class he was.
Okay.
And how much HP he was supposed to have, because right now I have it at 14, and I don't think that's right.
No, I think that's what his HP is. That's why I'm not too confident in this fight, but thanks to Cyphers' low performance, I'm feeling a little bit better.
So he has a D8 hit die, +2 con mod. So first level, that's going to be 10 HP. And if
Yeah, I think he rolled really bad on his level up.
Yeah.
He would have had to have.
Yeah, he would have had to roll a 2.
I think
Right.
That's what happened. Anyway, I think you should all praise me for how good I'm doing.
Yeah, you are.
So
doing
far, so
great.
good.
I'm proud.
Thank you. I feel better now.
I really like the flavor.
I have to check Sal's actual movement speed now.
Yeah, floaty book is awesome. I'm super down for floaty book.
Yep.
I'm more down for the +1 to hit and damage for everyone, but yeah.
I like
To
the
each their own.
idea that you're telling us the story of this happening before it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
You watch all as he tells this story, and the Lopper just turns his head quizzically, listening in as well, intrigued by what he's seeing. You imagine that a creature that has spent so long, almost 60 years, deep in a pit, hasn't had much entertainment. He lets go of the ceiling with feet swinging and just hitting off it, just kind of like a slinky going down the stairs, but along the walls, making his way back to this pillar. And
Gross.
he's out of sight behind.
Damn, he's
Careful,
fast.
guys, he's a spider splicer.
Right?
Well, that's unnerving.
Out of sight, but his laughter seems to fill this room.
Out of corner.
Rigel, you're up.
Alright. So, after hearing the laughter resonate and trying to warm myself up because my blood just dropped a couple of degrees after hearing that, I nonetheless must shake myself out of the revelry and essentially draw a breath and find a little comfort in the story as the Cyphers told, and definitely do feel a bit more confident as far as this, and I mean, not much because of sheer terror from what we have to do, but nonetheless, while moving up,
I
Five
want
spaces.
to check a little bit.
Room of top 5 spaces, and one directly looking at the pillar the Lopper had disappeared into. I looked down at one of the swords I'm carrying, the Masterwork sword, and the other one I'm carrying. And I decided to use a Masterwork sword. But before I draw it, I think to myself, I hope this works. And drawing from my arcane pool, I empower the sword magic, drawing it. Drawing as I sort of march my way towards the Lopper. Looking back at everyone else and looking back, I go, well, Let's see if I can subvert fate this time. Oh, let's see.
As Rigel's taking off, Raphael is going to be like, "Remember to stick together. Don't stray too far."
Meanwhile, in the background, you're
Also, I
floating over my
remind you
shoulder,
that-
doing like the Doctor Strange head thing when he's looking into all the futures.
yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
With
I'm
your
just like,
hand,
hey,
your
be
hand
careful.
throws more hands. But Rigel, I will remind you that enhancing your blade is a swift action, and magic missile is an auto hit.
Yeah.
If you have line of sight.
Line of sight.
Oh, if you have line of sight, okay.
Understand that. I just empowered the sword right now from what you told me. Well, technically I should be, thanks to empowering the sword, which is a +1, and the bonus that Cyphus was nice enough to give all of us is a +1, so that's a +2 to attacks at the very least. Not everything else,
damage,
just
yeah.
and damage, yeah. Yeah.
What you could do is you could set action to magic missile him if you get line of sight on him.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So, essentially I'm not straying too far to the group, and then Walter Raphael was like, don't worry, I am not straying too far from the group, but if something's to be believed, I sort of tap my, the right part of my coat right here where I'm carrying the same papers. It's just like, I think the Lopper may want to deal with me first. So, if anything else, be ready. But on the same token, I am, well, again, as D8 rightfully said, I'm preparing magic missile. Having some knowledge that's, my empowered sword might help, a spell might be the right thing to cause, the right cause of action here. Or call of action, rather. So, just, for now, at this point, without line of sight and that pillar between us, that'll be my turn. Essentially just almost stepping a little bit from the group, getting my sword and my spells ready.
Alright then. Grigori, you're up.
Okay, that's what.
Need to rush forward. When someone's in trouble. I didn't.
Grigori springs into action.
They don't have any evidence on me. They can't take me like they did last time.
Grigori called the ambulance in advance for this guy.
Not for this guy, for us.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Alright, so you moved over.
Yep, moved over, and I believe he's out of range of my shooting, right?
Roll me a perception. You don't see him there.
Of course.
As think back to what you had read on the Lopper, that his preferred form of hunting was to hide, wait, last moment to strike.
Ambush predator.
Oh, great.
As you look across the various pews in this room, think he's got a good deal of places to hide. For the record, these benches here will count as partial cover, okay?
Okay.
They're not just like simple benches, they are like a proper pew. They're a lot sturdier and harder for prisoners to pick up and hit people with.
That makes sense. And they're also easier to use to execute somebody if you tip it over and just crush them with it.
Yeah.
I mean, on with the show, sir.
Raphael, you are up.
Hello. I'm Raphael.
Go out.
I'm gonna hit everybody with a bless. So everybody gets a +1 to attack.
Alright, we now have +3 to attack.
Well, +2, except for 2 of you who have +3.
Oh, true.
And everybody's got a +1 morale bonus on saving throws against fear effects as well.
Jesus.
Actually, with my bane, I think I have up to +5.
Yeah, no, this is nuts.
Hey,
Deacon, you
just
watch
saying.
as your
Powers
blade is
combined.
thrumming with power. You're a little worried to hit anything with it.
Actually,
But
hold
you're
on. You know
also
what?
scientifically curious to hit something with it.
I'm gonna. Well, before I hit Bane, I'm gonna move up,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll move to here, and then I'll cast Bane, or Bless rather.
You know, I thought I liked this music, but not for this fight.
It does not work.
It's a little too upbeat.
It'll be really good whenever you fight a bunch of like comedic hyenas or something.
Yeah,
Or
this
like
music
a-
does not work.
It's like a bar. That's like a bar brawl
Yeah.
music.
You know what it really is? It's for fighting Vegapygmies.
It's called Rap Battle, and it's good, but not for this.
It's called Rap Battle.
Rat.
Oh, Rap Battle.
I went out of my way to find some extra fight music for you guys, and I can't remember which ones are which. So I have 40 here.
All right, let's continue on because I have to go because
Yes.
I didn't wake up in time, so I still need to get ready for everything. God
All right.
damn.
So you cast your bless over everyone.
I do.
Jack, you're up.
Okay. There we go. Me and Sal move to the wall and start climbing it.
All
Or I
right.
should say, Sal starts climbing it, and I just kind of relax on his side. I pull out my bow, and I will ready in action. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna cast Gravity Bow.
Ooh.
I want to
we
make
are
sure
so
I decimate.
This is insane. Having a party this big, this is my first time with this big of a party. And I think having this many buffers, especially against an enemy who's choosing to hide and wait, is just truly insane.
He'll like pop out and go, "All right, now the weak
And he's gonna get one really good hit in on us, and then just get fucking
die."
obliterated.
I know the choices I've made. You feel the bow string tighten energy, knowing that the next few shots with this are truly nasty. Anything else for your turn?
Other than that, I think our current altitude puts us 10 feet off the ground. Other than that, nothing.
Okay,
Just got the bowstring pulled, and I'm ready to. I can't ready in action, so yeah.
Deacon, you're up.
All right. So I will focus my mind and will, and through study of sacred geometry, manifest a shield-like spell around myself. So that will increase my AC by 4. And then I will slowly, possibly even solemnly, but at a cautiously hurried pace, move up to my maximum speed out here. As I pass Grigori, I will say, "Take his head off, will you?" And
With pleasure.
And I will step out into the middle, and I will say, under my breath, "Come on. I'm waiting."
Nice.
All right.
A methodical giggle comes from Jack on the wall.
Cyphus, you're up.
Oh shit, now I have to do something. Well, I'm continuing to mutter in a language no one understands. Long dead to the waking ears. God, I don't really have much I can do. I will advance a little bit.
I don't know if any of you have seen the movie The Craft, but there's a scene where one of the witches is like kind of pseudo-possessed, and she moves forward and her feet kind of drag along the ground as she's sort of
That's
pseudo-levitating.
1,000% happening.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the book is dragging me. Because it's floating in the air, but it's also chained to my chest.
Oh, that's not terrifying.
Those
Yeah.
with a keen eye who managed to catch not Cyphus, but Cyphus' shadow see almost more chains connecting to him, pulling him, wrapping around.
And I think I will. I don't think it's gonna pull anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and cast Detect Magic.
Oh shit!
Alrighty then. You, as a scholarly type, do know that there are undead of various types. Those that are created via magic, which normally do give off an aura, and those that are created via unfortunate circumstances and do not give off such an aura.
Yeah, but I've used our only scroll of Detect Undead, so it's not like I can really do anything else.
It's like I planned this fight.
Well, it's more along the lines of if I had been smart and prepared to Detect Undead, but I didn't, so now I'm just going to go ahead and wait.
If parties made smart choices, we wouldn't have fun games. So, now it is the Lopper's turn. I know what he's going to do. You all don't. Rigel, you're up.
Oh boy. Well, in that instance, seeing that the Loppers are making moves, I will the events. Oh, yeah, one more thing.
Okay, that does true.
Oh, that's right. Oh, here. Yeah, level to these two pews where Saint Deacon. Saint Deacon right there, and essentially just waiting. And it's essentially what it looks like me and Deacon are making a slow advance towards the Lopper. Thinking back, I try my best to try to calm myself, but in my own head right now is one part anxiousness, building up to this fight, and this encounter, and I'm trying to regain some calm because if I'm overly anxious, the Lopper's going to have more of an advantage. But slowly but surely, as if I'm making my way to the pillar in reverence, I am slowly making my way and slowly coming to the Deacons at my right side. My right side at this point. So, let's see. I will advance. Oh. Well, that's one turn, so no, I'll keep it there for now. Alright, still readying my spell with my sword.
Alright then. Grigori, roll me a fortitude save.
Oh boy.
Remember, you have a bonus.
What was the bonus? +2?
Yeah, I think
Right
so.
now, your bonus should be +2, I think, unless something else is changing it.
It depends on what the save is for. So you get your charisma bonus on all saving throws.
Yeah,
Okay.
which hopefully is already included on your sheet.
Probably not, because we'd have to manually do that, which I can do later.
Well, I'll just roll a d20 and add in your bonus. Okay. There's a sudden acute pain in your chest, and you cough a little bit, but it passes just as quickly as it comes. It hurt, but you're used to greater pain.
What?
Is there any visible reason for this?
None that you can see.
Well, then it's not visible.
So, it is your turn, Grigori.
Alright. I will move to this spot right here. Take some cover, and I'm going to set up to shoot.
Alright then.
If the Lopper pops out, I will be ready to shoot him. So, thinking this is me setting up Overwatch in like XCOM or something.
Don't make me want to play XCOM again.
Overwatch ready.
Raphael, you're up.
Rigel, what is your armor class looking like, Habib?
Let's see. Hold on a second. Let's see.
This
AC
is
is
much
looking at
better.
16.
A 16?
Correct.
Okie doke. Make that a 17 as I move up here and boop you on the back of the head with a little shield of faith. Remember, Sedendray will always protect you. Boop. And you have Shield of Faith.
Thank you. Well,
Right.
that's comforting.
And I like to imagine that the shield, it's just kind of like a holographic kind of projection of me giving like the peace sign with a big smile.
That's pretty funny.
Perfect.
I'm down for Raphael as a Clippy. Hi, I see you're fighting the undead today. Do you want some help?
Oh my god. Have any of you guys watched Dimension 20 yet?
Not yet.
Their use of the Identify spell is so funny. Anyway, that's all I'll say. Let us continue. That is my turn.
Rigel,
Do I
your
have
eyes
another-
are starting left and right, listening, watching, waiting for anything, and then something comes from behind it, whoops you on the back. You freak out.
But I say something. I come up to him and I'm like, don't always remember.
Don't remember.
Don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Everyone here.
Eat and forget. Also, can I make a quick perception check?
Sure can. Everyone can if they want to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would like to do that, please.
Not that it's kind of any reason to do it for me.
I
but-
see nothing.
You know nothing, John Schnurr.
Or doing a bit of a...
Hey,
Battle vision.
nice. That would be a 24 on my perception, Habibi.
I'm pretty sure that with a 7 I spot him.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. I hope he tries to hide from me.
Okay. Deacon and Raphael, you see he is hiding right there.
Oh, I'll-
You actually have to, funnily enough, my number is 31 for my perception. It just popped up as 0 because that's what it chose to populate as.
I see the math.
You got it. Yeah, you got a double plus.
10 plus 2.
Yeah,
What is it?
that's what happened. The double plus 2.
One of these days we'll figure out how to use this damn system.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you see him as well from your vantage.
I'll definitely call him out and be like, he's right there!
That's really good for me at the end of your turn for it to be found.
Now, does he become visible to anybody who has a set action after the calling out?
I mean,
Oh,
Deacon.
yeah.
Jack gets it. Deacon, if you had one.
I did not have one. I
And-
spent my action on casting shield.
And Raphael.
What about, no, Rigel had his,
So
But he... I'm just asking, does the calling him out...
Reveal it to others.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you another roll for perception. Like,
All
he's
right,
over
keep
there,
it.
and you look to see where he's...
Right, so all of us that
Cyphus,
failed...
Rigel, and
Yeah.
Gory, I think?
Oh my god, I see him!
Oh, yeah!
Now you do. What?
rather, Cyphus goes,
What I actually saying is, oh my god, he's right there!
You go your eyes
Go with fire!
knowing that this creature could strike at any moment, you are struggling to see it. Everyone's pointing in different directions. You've kind of got tunnel sight with your gun, just looking. Cyphus, you feel something just kind of push your head a little bit in the right direction.
And which is what makes him start making all the noise in the back.
So, Jack, you had a prepped action.
As the arrow flies with tremendous speed and force, probably to blow a hole in the floorboards, but we'll see what happens.
Roll.
Did I do something wrong?
No,
Yep, I did something wrong.
Well, you did.
So that's actually going to do something that I decided to set, but only if you rolled a natural 20 or a natural 1.
Hold on,
Higher
let me
level.
click something. Do I still have this thing set to rolling at disadvantage, or is it doing it because it wants to?
No, it's not rolling a disadvantage. You just rolled poorly.
Oh, on my screen there are way too many dice, guys.
Okay.
2d20s, 46.
The whole dice bag.
Yeah, basically.
You got D100, D4, D3, D8.
I'm like, what the hell just happened? But anyways, if all right, so I missed. So yeah, I did blow
Well, you do
a
have
hole in.
high or low?
Weird.
High?
You definitely have
Okay.
it set to do something weird, dude.
Yeah, I know. I just can't figure out what.
Your arrow slams into the pew, kicking up a lot of dust and dirt. But not enough to create a bit of a smoke screen.
Oh, definitely not enough for a smokescreen. It's an arrow.
Wow.
Well, it's a gravity bow arrow.
Gravity
It's
bow,
still
lots of
an
dust.
arrow.
Look, man, I'm trying to make gravity bow cool.
I'm just looking at the hole in the pew going, damn it! It was meant for him.
A little bit to the left.
Right? Left and down. Left and down.
Raphael's just gonna be like, "Oh wow, that looked so powerful. Good job, Jack."
Jack, you're up again since that was a front action.
Yeah, now I'm gonna actually hit him this time.
Scalpel
Watch out, bad guy. Yep.
Could have had you firing in cover, but nah.
No, I'm above him. He doesn't have cover from me. What the hell? On my screen, I'm looking at an 18 on the die, and then I look down at the thing, and it's all 8. I'm all.
That's because you have it set to do something weird. You have it set with it has to be a greater than 20.
So,
Huh?
Yeah, I don't
How do
know.
I fix that then?
I don't know. Re-put it all in.
Just roll on the regular dice roller.
Alright,
yeah.
give me a
Yeah,
second then.
seriously, just like roll a regular d20.
Alright,
so
alright,
Jack,
alright.
your arrow comes flying towards the creature, aimed directly for its head, and you see it move just nick of time. with
Well,
the
can we
wind-
get a reroll so we know actually what he rolled?
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
okay.
my roll. Oh shit. -2. 18.
That hits.
Why is it -2?
I don't. Or actually, no. That
You get +2 right now.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's with the buff. So yeah, never mind. It is 20. I forgot I still had the buff, so my brain was thinking, oh, the buff's off.
Roll damage.
All right, 1 second on that damage thing. Apparently, my character sheet is evil and faulty, and I cannot trust it.
Yeah, we'll have to fix it.
At least all the data on there is right. I just have to.
Except for re-input.
Manual input.
All right, so that is the arrow through. Oh, damn it! Plus, hold on, I forgot one. There we go.
Where's all that damage coming from?
Gravity bow.
Yeah,
It does 3d6?
double checking to make sure it was not
Infinite
2d6.
Size category larger.
So it should be just be doing a
Might be
d8?
Yeah, it should be 2d8s.
All right, roll 2d8s.
Why 2d8?
Double checking, double checking.
Did I mishear? I thought it was.
Bow,
It should be
double.
2d8s.
Alright, so normally the bow is this, and then it counts as that. Okay, that's what I did.
Super descriptive, bud. Thanks.
It was 2d6, not
That's one
3.
size category.
Okay, so it's 2d6,
Yeah.
and then plus 1 from my damage boost.
Right.
So what's the total?
I'm gonna re-roll it to make it easier to.
See.
13.
Oh
Same
my God.
exact damn number.
Now, plus gives +1 to hit, right?
Yes, but he gets plus 1 to damage from me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are to hit and
So-
damage. Got it.
Yep.
Yes.
Your arrow goes firing into its form. You see a lot of skin and flesh rip off. Beneath that kind of hazy cloud, it seems to take the general shape of what was just destroyed.
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
The flesh that was destroyed, a good chunk of it being thrown off its body, but beneath that, there appears to be almost like a second layer, but this made out of something faded and incorporeal.
Gross. Do we still have the Lopper's axe? That might be.
Yeah.
That might prove useful against
Yes.
such an adversary.
Ironically, yes, we do. Oh, and then I'm going to move to get into. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, and there we are.
Sounds fast.
Well, he just kind of keeps right on chucking. He's chugging along, and I'm like, tonk.
So,
And that's us.
Deacon, you're up. Creature spotted Jack doing a better job of calling out with that arrow, just piercing its side.
All right, we're gonna walk up to him and see if I can't hit him with my mace.
All right, then. Go for it.
Give him a good old whack.
God, I hope you hit him.
I don't know if a 14 hits.
I hope you do.
You take your mace,
Are you
swinging
taking
right.
into account bless and everything?
Yeah, that's everything I got. I rolled a 4.
Oh, awesome.
You take your mace, swinging directly for his head. You watch his knees bent improperly as he just pulls himself back and then just slithers back into place, laughing the entire time as you whiff.
Yeah, figured. Oh well. Guys say what they say. Alright, to end my turn, I will create my hexagrammatic mind barrier, which will absorb the first 2 points of damage done to me until the start of my next turn.
Alright then. So, Cyclus, you're up.
Alright. Okay, cool. Everything is already in the Divine Guns thing. Cool. Sorry, I was messing with this character sheet. Okay, do I have line of sight where I am?
Yes you do.
Then I'm going to continue my performance, and I'm going to cast Positive Pulse,
Okay.
which I need to pull up. So he needs to make a will saving throw.
I like this guy. His stats are all the same. What's the DC?
The DC for me, as you can see, is 15.
Fiddle-dee-dee. Alright, and that deals half damage if he succeeds?
Let me check. I think it does
It's
nothing if he
15.
succeeds. If he succeeds, it does nothing.
You watch as this ball of radiant energy forms, firing over him, and like waves hitting a rock, it seems to do nothing.
It does catch Deacon, though,
Okay.
which gives him a +2 saving throw against death effects, energy drain, negative energy, and effects caused by haunts.
Like a
Nice.
wave going over the rocks, it does nothing, but does water the plants of Deacon's soul.
With horrific salt water.
So, Deacon, you watch as his elbows, his shoulders seem to twist, turning 180 degrees as his hands grab onto the pew behind him. He turns and twists with it, doing a reverse somersault, planting his feet atop the top of the pew, now inside of you, Grigori, as he launches himself forward. He does have to make an acrobatics check, but
Does that give Grigori the attack?
yes, it does. That's why I brought it up.
Alright. Shooting. Wait, hang on. Wait, when did my...
Now, he's using acrobatics to move out of my threat square, right?
Yes, he is. What's your CMD?
My CMD is... it is going to be a 15. I assume this guy is crazily good at acrobatics.
I'd be surprised.
Well, can I use my smiting shot on this?
I'm hesitant to say that stuff for like prepared actions, but I like you, so in the future, just make a point to say like what kind.
No, it's fine. I'll just use a regular shot.
I don't know. I already made up my mind. This is a smiting shot.
Okay, this is a smiting shot. So, let me remember how that works.
I don't like the fact that you're going to try to shoot him while he's running across me. Like,
Well, you don't feel it. You don't have to worry if it hits you.
yeah, I absolutely have to worry if it hits me.
Alright, so you add charisma to damage, and if it's undead, it's charisma +2 per level.
You do get an attack off Deacon. He is a bit rusty, it would seem.
I've been flying around too long.
Yeah.
So, roll to hit.
Oh yeah, hang on.
With your pistol.
Rigel should also get an attack.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ, he's obliterated. Alright, so it's hold on a second. It's 7 plus 2 for me, so that's 9, plus your charisma of 3, which is 12, plus twice your level, so that's 4, so that's 16, times 3 is 50. What, 58?
Well,
you do 58 damage to it with one shot?
Let's do my roll first. 17 from the mace. Now let's do the 2d6 from Bane. That's going to be 8.
So, you see the Lopper fly through the air, Grigori, landing close to Cyphus. Cyphus, you see his eyes glowing red as this dark energy seems to coalesce in his hands. He raises it up. Grigori, how do you want to finish him off?
Yeah, see, Cyphus not being worried at all.
Is this actually killing him?
Yes!
Oh shit!
Alright, I think I broke one of his legs as he was flying, so his landing was off.
His landing was off, and then you just dust him.
Oh, Grigori will cry out, "Lopper, you shall lop no more!" as he fires a shot off.
It's got him in the head, right?
No, that's definitely him in the head.
Lopper.
It's taking his head off.
Yeah!
Like his head doesn't come off, it explodes.
I feel like his whole thing explodes. Did you ever see the video? Have you ever seen the video of that bird getting hit by the major league pitcher? And he just kind of goes, and like all the feathers fly everywhere.
Yeah,
I feel like he shoot him, and the Lopper's like.
I love the poetic justice of being lopped.
If I may, gentlemen, you see this creature slumping towards you, Cyphus ready to strike, and then you hear Grigori call out. You hear thunder rip through Harrow Snow. Steel tears through the Lopper's head. The bullet whizzing right by you, Cyphus. You feel that energy that's been aiding you almost shirk back in fear before quickly coalescing over you. The Lopper falling to his knees, more of a neck stump than anything else, as a gurgling laugh comes from it before it falls down and disintegrates.
That's what everybody got to see.
I am not even remotely surprised or worried when he jumps at me because I already know the ending of the story.
Right?
And I would say he just disintegrates.
Because it reads, Grigori explodes him. You know, explodes him.
Well, and I think as Grigori is tracking, he begins to understand exactly what the words coming out of my mouth mean, and he knows exactly when to pull the trigger, and it just kind of automatically happens. And he's gone. This monster is gone.
So as Jack's sitting there on the wall looking down at everybody, he kind of goes, "That's how it should have happened."
So, I will, as I pass Grigori, truly, you are a man of your word, as I walk over to the Lopper and just bring the mace down on his chest.
There's not much of a chest left, it's disintegrated.
There's barely
it's just the legs.
There.
It's just the legs standing where he used to be.
Man, the rest of it fell to nothing here. It had 57 health.
The legs are all
58, and it was already wounded.
Right?
My eyes roll back to their normal condition, and I sink to the floor a little bit more in a natural standing, and the book comes to my hands, and I close it, and I go, and that is how the Lopper is ended.
All right.
I'll give a golf clap. Raphael starts.
So Grigori's just gonna look at the barrel of his gun and just blow the smoke off of it really quick.
Oh yeah!
I think it forms a holy symbol of Abadar before it's his face.
You mean his arm? His shooting arm?
Right.
Yeah,
Or like he blows the smoke off of the gun and the smoke kind of coalesces into a symbol of Abadar as it floats away.
You give your gun a little spin and you see some smoke coalescing that seems to take the shape of the Lopper. And you just... and to nothingness. A bit of a gold sparkle seems to take its place. This, to you, is Tuesday.
Right, so 23 on a perception. I don't suppose he had anything on him, but just checking.
He's got some very bad-looking pants.
I'm just picturing his legs like still in like an action pose, like he's about to leap away, and it's just ending at the torso.
Well, I think we're gonna go on break now because I need to do some revisions.
He was prepared for a 2-hour boss fight. He did not expect the boss to get nuked.
I told him to live a little longer.
I'm so happy that went exactly how I planned. I was like, oh yeah, I can double the bonus on Grigori, and then if he crits, it'll multiply that by 3.
Right, that was
Laura uses lost deletion button.
Well, no, it was the atypical Grigori moment where we're all looking around going, Grigori, finish it, and Grigori's like, I don't have a shot yet, and then, oh, there he is, bam!
Yeah, it's the movie stuff. It's like, you have to get him out in the open.
I want you guys to know this guy has a plus 12 to stealth, and every single person I told about my plans went, no, don't do that, the players can't handle a plus 12 to stealth. 4, 2, oh, cool, he rolled an 8, so that's a 20 he rolled. 25, 23.
32.
Right?
If somebody tells you,
I'm not mean enough.
If somebody starts telling you like, oh, these players can't handle that, it's like, you gotta listen to these players though. They're kind of messed up.
So yeah, we're gonna take a small break now.
And I think this is a good lesson to every DM out there. Always have a backup plan.
Always prepare one step further than you think you need to.
Oh, I have like 8 different plans. I just didn't want to do them.
It's like
also a reminder to remember to say what you're doing for your prepared actions. Okay? We're back in like 15 minutes. I'm gonna go cry.
Because your aspirations for today in this party were just deleted in one shot.
Literally, it was one shot from me, one shot from Raphael, or one shot from Deacon, and one shot from who the heck got the other shot in beforehand? Was it Cyphus? Did you do damage or a buff?
I buffed Deacon.
Okay, so yeah, it was buffs all around, and then one hit for each of our attackers.
I told you he shouldn't give enough time to buff.
I know, right? That was his problem. Is we had enough time to get all of the buffs.
We have a party full of buffers. Every last one of us has a buff ability.
Yeah, because I have lead blade. If he had stayed visible, so I could have gotten in close. That would have been fun, because lead blade is actually more dangerous than gravity bow in my hands.
Yeah, this gravity bow just treats it as one size category higher, right?
Yep.
So for you, wouldn't that just make it a D8?
It would if I was using the regular size bow, but I'm using your guys' size bow.
So what's a normal size longbow then?
A normal longbow is a D8, which turns into 2D6.
Oh. Well, then wouldn't yours go from being a D6 to a D8?
No, because mine is already counted as a D8. I have the
what are you using?
The compound bow.
But doesn't the compound just add strength to damage?
Yeah, but it's a normal size. It's a normal
size compound bow.
Category bow.
It's not my size category.
How are you using a medium-sized weapon?
Hilariously, I assume.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah, no, literally, because it's because like even my melee weapons are all medium-sized category, but one. My lance is the only thing that's sized appropriate to me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but normally that just means
a normal sized lance would be so funny.
Right. Wait, say that again, Sai?
Normally that just means you use, the next size weapon. Hand axe is a battle axe for a small creature. But if you're using a medium-sized longbow, how does the game handle using oversized weapons? I can never remember.
Well, for
it's like a -4, isn't it?
For Pathfinder, it was, what was it? Initially, if you have no proficiency, it's -4. If you have proficiency, it's either a -2 or a -1. Let me look that up again. Oh.
Damn. I used up 2 of my spell slots on that. That was great. Well done.
Hey, well, he was tough enough that he actually took that much damage, though, because that was over almost 100 points of damage he took. Or over 100 points, if my math is wrong. My math is wrong.
Those 100 points, absolutely obliterated him, though, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? 30-something there, 20-something there, 15...
Weapon size, here we go. Object, one size category. A creature can't make the optimum use of a weapon that isn't properly sized for it. A cumulative -2 penalty for each size category of difference between the size of its intended wielder and the size of its actual wielder. If you aren't proficient, it's a -4. Also,
so I was right.
So you just get the -2 for using it bigger.
Yep.
Okay. And then for anything that isn't two-handed, you just have to use it two-handed.
Yep. Basically, for me, it's everything is a two-handed weapon, unless...
Yeah, and then anything that's a two-handed weapon, you get a -2 on.
Yep.
So I suppose, technically, you get the -2 anyway. I don't know, it's not perfectly clear on it.
I took it as if the DM says I get an additional -2 because it's an awkward situation, I could easily account for that. Otherwise, it was just the original -2 for bad luck, or
that makes sense.
Bad, improper use of tool.
Do you mind if I take a look at your character sheet to try to figure out what's messing up?
Go for it. I honestly, I just threw on everything on there based on info. I info dumped it. So if it should be remotely accurate for as far as spells and skills, but everything else is just copy and paste from PFSRD.
Okie doke. I gotta go, gentlemen. I have to get ready for work.
All right.
Roger that.
Thanks for joining us. Fantastic.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we get there,
yeah, it's honestly not a bad place to end because we're just going to go back to the house. We've had our fun for today in Harrowstone.
Yeah, and we found out who the body was.
If we're going to go back to the house, if we're going to just go back to the house and have downtime and stuff, I can stay on the line and
No, I think this is a good stopping point as you all make your way out of Harrowstone laughing at the DM.
We are not laughing at you, so we're technically laughing with... Well, we're laughing and you're sobbing, but we're not laughing at your sobbing. We're just laughing that he died, and he didn't get to us.
Sobbing.
No. Cyphus is still... But actually, Cyphus may be the one who's not laughing at all, just looking at the situation going, that happened.
So
I'm just satisfied.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, sorry for such a short session. There were some technical errors, but I think we all had a great time watching Gregory be the man.
Woo! Hey, Gregory filling his role. Executioner Gregory on scene. Was that the third bad guy you've executed, Gregory?
What, today or in general? Because I feel like it's the 8th.
Oh God, I don't know how many he's executed in total. I just know for sure the ones that felt like one shots have all like there's been 3 that have been all Grigori, just timing.
One shot a skeleton, if I'm not mistaken. One shot the skeleton from the last fight. Took out a centipede in one shot. Obliterated the Lopper. Everyone else hit it, but he did more than its health in a single shot.
Yep, that sounds like our Grigori.
So, yeah, what do you say, T6? You want to call it there?
Yeah, I think that's one to go out on. Everyone, thank you for watching the first of many boss battles to come in Harrowstone. We will see you next time for more thrills and chills. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Boss battle? That was a boss meeting.
I'm sorry, sir, but that was a Sumerian execution. Perfectly timed.